Hello friends, welcome back to Night Court Narrative. I am Elvish. I'm going to let you know this is going to be the shortest video ever, and I'm probably going to give absolutely nothing because if you guys know me, and if you guys have been here, I don't do historical fiction or anything of that nature. When it comes to historical, I don't necessarily touch it because either I don't know anything about it or I don't know enough to speak about it, but I did want to give my little 2 cents on the Nightingale by Chris and Hannah. I loved this book. Loved this book. I did get a... Okay, I know, this is gonna be so bad because if you guys have watched my previous videos, you guys know I have yelled at Aqua for doing this, but I gave this book a 4.75 out of 5. The only reason why it didn't get a full 5-star rating is because the beginning was so slow, it dragged on, but not in a bad way. Like, typically a book of this size, I can read it within like a day and a half, maybe 2 days max. I was reading this book for about 5 to 6 days. It dragged on so much, but once it was finally completed, it was so good. It was such a fantastic read. I do recommend this book for anyone. Me personally as well, I am very interested in World War II. I'm very interested in like the history behind the Nazis and the history behind Hitler and all the war, and I'm interested in how history became itself. I know that sounds bad and a lot of people might misconstrue that as in like I supported that. I don't support that, nor would I ever, but I'm so fascinated by just everything World War II related and the hardships that came from every which way. And yeah, I'm gonna stop talking before I dig myself into a bigger hole. I don't support any of that, and it was devastating what happened, but my fascination made me read this book. And this book does take place in France in 1939. We actually follow 2 different sisters. We have Vianne, and then we have, what is her sister's name? Isabelle. We do follow 2 sisters. After Vianne's husband, his name was Antoine, he gets sent away to be one of the soldiers in the French War, and he unfortunately gets locked up for years and is nowhere to be found. But Vianne does have to house one of the Nazi soldiers, which in my personal opinion, and I know this is gonna be bad, he was a fucking sweetheart and I absolutely loved his character. That sounds so bad, but he was a sweetheart. But then we have Isabelle on the other hand. She is practically running an underground railroad, if you will, for airmen, whether they are Englishmen, American, anyone that's not French born. She does practically an underground railroad, and she takes them to Spain to freedom. And the book is trying to figure out who she was, as her nickname was the Nightingale. A lot of the Nazis were trying to figure out who the Nightingale was and ended up capturing her, torturing her a little bit, and so on and so forth. There's a lot of hard discussions and a lot of hard topics in this book, but I do really think this book was so well written. I loved quite literally everything that I read in this book. I do think, as I mentioned, the book does start off a little bit slow. I do think the ending of the book was way better. I want to say maybe chapter 1920 all the way to the end was chef's kiss, 5-star, but chapter 1 through 18, 19, whatever, it was good. It was really good. At least 4-star rating, nothing below, but very slow. I do think a little bit was taken, I don't know, a little bit was a little weird to me because I do think the author had a hard time remembering what she was writing. I know at one point she was talking about the weather being so thick in snow, like snow was all the way up to her knees, and then ended up, she was able to end up riding her bike on the road without leaving tracks or something, within like a course of a minute. And I'm just like, okay, but I thought it was snowing outside, but then it's not snowing outside, it's rain instead. And I think the author has a hard time forgetting what she was writing. I know one more case was Vianne ended up going to her room for the night to call it a night, go to bed, whatever the case, but then the next morning woke up in her kid's room. Mind you, this is like a sentence later. Yeah, I'm gonna go to bed, and then I wake up in my kid's room. Like, I just think it could work for the sense, but maybe she got up in the middle of the night, but we didn't see that as the reader. So it was kind of the inconsistency of where the main character goes versus where they end up was a little strange. And I do think the timeline between ages is kind of weird too. I do understand this book does take place between several years, but in one breath the character is 16, and then in the next breath she's already 19, but it hasn't been enough time in between to really pass 3 years. But then when we talk to someone again, she's 17. And I don't know, I think it was just a little weird. I did see another review of someone talking about this, and a lot of people agreed with them, but it's weird how nobody but maybe one or two reviewers has actually come forward and said that this is a thing that they noticed. So I do feel a little bit validated with that, but ultimately I really do I really did like this book. I really loved all of it. I hated the fact that it was so heartbreaking and in that time, but I thought it was good. I loved it, honestly. I don't think I can say anything more about it because it does get into like risky territory, and I just feel like everything nowadays is so, you have to censor yourself so heavy just to be able to get by. So I'm a little bit nervous about it, but I just wanted to come on here and tell you guys I really love this book. It was a 4.75. Practically, let's just be real, it was a 5 out of 5 star for me. It was really good. It's definitely a book that I'm going to remember for a very long time. Honestly, it's one of those books that I might actually reread. So the ending, literally I was crying at the end, like actually wiping tears away. So if you like a historical fiction, if you like World War II era, if you like strong female characters, if you like bold and saddening endings, this definitely is a book for you. And of course, if you like this book, let me know down below. If you hated it, hey, everyone has an opinion and I would love to hear about it. So definitely let me know in the comments. And as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, y'all.